yesterday I was scrolling on X and I came upon a post that quoted a post that was replying to the post. That's where we're at. But I did not see the reply. Let me just show you. My eyes went to this first. The post that was quoted. Jeff Bezos in 1995 when his net worth was only $80K. And I was just really focused on Jeff Bezos. One, I was like, is that really Jeff Bezos? God damn, he looks way better today than he did 30 years ago. Is that the math? That's the math. 30 years ago looks way better today than he did 30 years ago. That was the first thing I noticed. And then I noticed, like, oh, this is a weird photo with, like, the monitor on top of these books. Like, that's weird, right? But whatever. Then I zoomed out and I saw this. Oh, what's that book? The red one. First from the right. And I was like, oh, what is that? Couldn't really read it. Doesn't really matter. Then I went down and I was like, okay, what is it? Spreading the Girded Jeff mind virus. It's a virus that kills other ones and then helps you ascend, though. Unless you get devoured by it or distracted. Enjoy. And obviously, like you're thinking right now, I'm intrigued. What does that mean? So, I didn't read these. Oh, he's asking him, truly, what the fuck? This is the highest exposure Girdif ever got, probably. I don't know why people are so into this. Was a quick, in-the-moment tweet like I often do. Out of the millions who saw this, I'm sure some will dive deep into the rabbit hole. So interesting, really. Okay, whatever, dude. So, I was intrigued, obviously, just like you. And I did Googling. Let me do that again here. Let's Google. And I came upon Georgiy Ivanovich Girdler. Right? That's how you say that. And he was a philosopher, mystic, spiritual teacher, composer, and movements teacher. Born in the Russian Empire, he briefly became a citizen of the First Republic of Armenia after its formulation in 1918, but fled the impending Red Army invasion of Armenia in 1920, which rendered him stateless. He's a stateless man. Born in 1866 and died in 1949. Pretty recent. Had a spouse, had children, blah, blah, blah. Saw the Wikipedia, considered clicking on it, didn't, almost gave up on it until I scrolled a little bit more and I saw this. The most dangerous, and it's right here, the most dangerous spiritual teaching, the most dangerous spiritual teaching, the most dangerous spiritual teacher in history. And I thought, interesting. I wouldn't mind learning about the most dangerous spiritual teacher in history and whatever this guy is posting about and somehow knew what it was. So we're going to get into that today and learn about that. Also, I will note when I wrote this down, I read the title as most dangerous spiritual teaching in history, not teacher. But let's learn anyway. Now that we're learning what we're going to learn about, let's get into it.
Imagine a man who spent decades traveling the world, studying ancient spiritual secrets and unraveling the mysteries of the human soul. A man whose teachings have influenced some of the greatest minds of the 20th century, yet remains shrouded in mystery. George Gurdjieff was not just a philosopher, not just a mystic. He was a guide who challenged the very way we think. But who was he really?
Please.
Why does his story still intrigue and confound us to this day?
Oh, I saw it on X.
His teachings were so powerful that some believe Hitler was exposed to his ideas.
Oh.
That Stalin, who walked the same streets as Gurdjieff in his youth, may have been influenced by his philosophy. In the next few minutes, we'll take you through the life of a man whose journey could change the way you see yourself. Stay with us as we unravel the enigma of George Gurdjieff.
Okay, we're about to be changed. Early Life, Chapter 1.
George Ivanovich Gurdjieff was born in Alexandropol, a small town in the Caucasus. In the late 19th century, an era of change, conflict, and cultural fusion. This region, sitting at the crossroads of East and West,
It's not the point, but I want to see it. Look how these people dress.
An era of change, conflict,
well, that's military
and
shit.
cultural fusion.
Look at that. They all dress so nice. Look at that. All the suit jackets and the vests. Nice pants, good boots, a lot of hats.
This region, sitting at the crossroads of East and West, was home to Armenians, Greeks, Russians, and Persians. It was a land of traders and mystics, warriors and priests, where old traditions were still alive, whispering secrets from the past.
Ooh, secret.
Gurdjieff's father, Yanis Georgiadis, was a carpenter, but also a bard, a storyteller who preserved ancient Armenian and Greek epics. Night after night, he recited tales of heroes, gods, and hidden wisdom. These stories, filled with mystery and symbolism, ignited something in young Gurdjieff. They planted a question that would follow him for the rest of his life. Is there a deeper reality hidden beneath the one we see?
Oh, that's scary because that's exactly the same shit I think about all the time.
Unlike other children, he wasn't satisfied with ordinary explanations. He was drawn to the unseen, the mystical. He had a restless mind, questioning everything.
Shout
He
out.
studied languages, mathematics, and religious texts, but books were not enough.
Nope. That's why we went to YouTube, right?
He wanted truth, not just knowledge. And the world around him seemed to be full of hidden meanings, waiting to be uncovered. The ancient monasteries of the Caucasus became his first classrooms. He observed the monks, studied their rituals, and saw how symbols, chants, and sacred geometry were used to connect with something beyond the material world.
Oh, shit.
But Christianity alone could not answer his questions. Everywhere he looked, he saw glimpses of something greater. Muslim dervishes spoke of divine unity. Jewish mystics explored hidden meanings in sacred texts. Zoroastrians worshipped the eternal flame. Each tradition had a piece of the puzzle, but none seemed to reveal the full picture.
See, I don't want to, like, if you're religious, cover your ears unless you are open to this shit, but that was my that's kind of an, like, that's why I say I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious, but I guess I am religious because I believe in God, and I think that's the whole thing, but I'm not a part of any religion because they're all saying very, very, very similar things with different rules sometimes, but, like, generally, it's all the same shit. Like, they all have the same basic stuff and all going after the same thing. So it's kind of, I don't know, I don't want to follow one. Let's just, like, grab all the similar pieces that seem to be pretty true since everyone's agreeing on those, and let's extract those, leave all the other bullshit behind.
By the time he reached adulthood, Gurdjieff was convinced that true knowledge existed,
He also shaved
but
his
it was
head.
hidden, scattered, perhaps even lost. He knew he couldn't find it by staying in one place. He had to search for it himself. And he wouldn't be alone. Others like him, seekers, explorers, scholars, were asking the same questions. Together, they formed a group he would later call the Seekers of Truth. Their mission? To find the forgotten wisdom of humanity. They would travel to the farthest corners of the world, searching for ancient teachings, hidden monasteries, and secret schools of knowledge. The journey would take them to Tibet, India, Mesopotamia, Egypt, and beyond. It would be a journey of discovery, hardship, and transformation.
It's kind of tight. Chapter 2, The Search. We're searching now.
The answers young George Gurdjieff sought could not be found in the familiar streets of Alexandropol. He had glimpsed pieces of the puzzle in the traditions of his homeland, but he sensed that true knowledge, the hidden wisdom of the ancients, was scattered across the world. And so, he set forth on a journey that would span decades and reshape his understanding of human existence. Legend spoke of sacred monasteries in Tibet, underground libraries in the Middle East, and hidden orders preserving knowledge from antiquity. These whispers ignited something in Gurdjieff. He would not merely study these traditions. He would seek their origins, their essence, their hidden core. He listened to travelers, merchants, and wandering dervishes. The stories they carried were more than myths. They were maps leading to something real. And so, with little more than an insatiable curiosity and an unbreakable...
Really quick, I think he did the right move by shaving the head and leaving the mustache and just going with this look. He looks very... strong is the only word I can come to. Just looks determined. Determined.
Will, he set out. For years, Gurdjieff wandered. His journey took him deep into the heart of Asia, across the Middle East, and through the forgotten corners of North Africa. He traveled as a scholar, a laborer, sometimes even as a healer, always in search of those who guarded the secrets of human consciousness. In the hidden monasteries of Tibet, he witnessed rituals that had remained unchanged for centuries. Among the Sufis, he studied the sacred dances that mirrored the rhythms of the cosmos. In India, he debated with sages who saw reality as an illusion. Every encounter, every lesson, was a piece of a greater puzzle. But the journey was not just a physical one. Gurdjieff tested himself against the elements, facing hunger, exhaustion, and near death. He believed that true knowledge was not given. It was earned through struggle, sacrifice, and experience.
This is so tiny. But we're doing the dopamine detox right now. And it does feel like a struggle of the modern age to not indulge in cheap dopamine. But I feel like I'm unlocking doors to my brain that I've shut off due to high amounts of stimulus. And I'm not starving myself or working hard or whatever. But yeah.
Through these years of travel, a realization began to take shape. Gurdjieff saw that most people were not truly awake, that they lived their lives as if in a trance, unaware of their own mechanical nature.
Kind of does feel
Everywhere
like that to
he
me
went,
too.
he saw the same pattern. People lived and died without ever knowing who they truly were. And so, his search shifted from gathering external knowledge to uncovering the deeper forces that govern human consciousness. He pieced together fragments of lost wisdom, from the teachings of the East to the philosophies of the West. And what emerged was the foundation of an entirely new path, a way of transformation that could be practiced not in temples or monasteries, but in the very midst of ordinary life.
Oh, chapter 3, the fourth way.
The world was changing. Industrialization was reshaping life at an unprecedented pace. Science and technology soared, yet something fundamental was being lost. People were caught in mechanical routines. Gurdjieff saw this clearly. He saw that humanity was sleepwalking through life. He believed that human beings
Yeah, man, get off your phones, dude. You're sleeping through life by being connected to all this stimulus. This is all leading back to a dopamine detox and what we all need to do. We need to drop the screens for a few hours of our day and really connect with ourselves and our surroundings. Do difficult things to get amazing results.
existed in a state of waking sleep, acting out patterns, responding to stimuli, never questioning the deeper forces at play. He compared people to machines programmed by habit, emotion, and unconscious thought. But he also believed that there was a way out. He studied the way people functioned and recognized that they were divided within themselves. Some were ruled by intellect, analyzing life but never truly feeling it. Others were dominated by emotions, tossed about by their reactions. And many relied only on their physical instincts, living life on autopilot. For centuries, seekers pursued three traditional spiritual paths: the fakir, who disciplined the body through extreme endurance; the monk, who cultivated devotion and faith; the yogi, who sought enlightenment through intellectual and meditative discipline. Each path developed one aspect of the self but ignored the others. None addressed the whole being. Gurdjieff introduced something radical: the fourth way, a path that could be followed while living an ordinary life. It did not require retreating to a monastery.
Thank God. You know, honestly, I will say this, and I thought this for a minute. So glad I get the opportunity to say it now. In the world of information, but even before that, the whole teachings, and I'm thinking about people that like go to India. That seems to be a hotbed for definitely like Americans, and I'm sure every culture, but I'm an American, and that's what I have to go off. A lot of Americans go down to India to practice spirituality. But what I've never understood is you don't need to be in a certain place to practice it. So why the fuck are you all going to these certain places to practice it? So I'm kind of like, I'm buying into the fourth way, which is lead an ordinary life on the outside. But we'll get into it. We'll see what this fourth way is. But there is, I love that. I love. You don't need to travel. You don't need to go anywhere. You don't need to worship in this certain building or this certain area or whatever, or a certain way, like a directional way that I don't know. Is it Muslims praying to the west or the east or the north or the south? Well, you don't need to do it. You can just do what you do. Let's see.
Mountain.
Let's see.
It was a way of working on oneself in the midst of daily existence, at work, in relationships, and through every challenge life presented. But how does one awaken? Gurdjieff's answer was self-remembering, the practice of being consciously aware of oneself in every moment. It meant observing your own thoughts, emotions, and actions without identification, without losing yourself in them. Gurdjieff often spoke of inner work as an alchemical process. Just as fire transforms metal, struggle transforms the self. His students practiced his teachings not in theory, but through real lived experience. He challenged them, provoked them, forced them to see their automatic behaviors. For those willing to endure the struggle, the reward was profound, a glimpse of a higher state of being.
I'm here for it. I have nothing to say to that. Chapter 4. We'll figure out what that word is soon.
In 1922, George Gurdjieff established a place unlike any other, a school not for academics, but for transformation. In the quiet countryside of Fontainebleau, France, he founded the Prieur de Bases Loges, an institute where students would be tested, broken, and rebuilt, not through theory, but through experience. The Prieur was not a retreat. It was a crucible. Here, students from all walks of life, artists, writers, intellectuals, came seeking wisdom. What they found instead was grueling labor, unpredictable challenges, and a master who tested them at every turn. Gurdjieff believed that transformation required friction, inner struggle. To break free from mechanical living, one had to be pushed beyond comfort.
This almost feels like where like a good theory goes out the door. Like you have a good idea and you build a school, and then very soon it's like, hey, we got all this free labor around us. Maybe we make a few money on the back end, and we call it a spiritual practice. I don't know if that's where this is going. Kind of almost sounds like it. I can't imagine they're just digging holes for no reason. Shout out to the movie Holes. But that, like, that was, a thing for boys. What was the real intention back there? To find the old Stanley Yelnats box of goodies.
And so, his students worked hard. Their tasks were not random. A scholar might be ordered to shovel dirt. A strong laborer might be given delicate embroidery. The goal? To confront weakness and to challenge self-image. But physical labor was only part of the training. Central to Gurdjieff's method were the movements, sacred dances designed to unify mind, body, and emotion. These intricate, often bewildering sequences force students to remain fully present. A single lapse in awareness and the pattern collapsed. Through the movements, Gurdjieff revealed an essential truth. Human beings were not in control of themselves. Only through conscious effort could they break free from their mechanical nature. But the real work of the Prieur was internal. Gurdjieff's teaching was not gentle. He exposed his students' contradictions, their fears, their hidden weaknesses. Sometimes, his words cut deeply, provoking emotional reactions. But these moments were not cruelty. They were tests. Could a person observe themselves in crisis? Could they remain aware under pressure? Could they even see their own mechanical responses? Every moment at the Prieur was a lesson. Through hardship, through laughter, through frustration, students glimpsed their unconscious patterns and the possibility of change. The Prieur attracted minds from around the world. Some came seeking answers. Others came for healing. Among them was the writer Catherine Mansfield, suffering from tuberculosis, drawn to Gurdjieff's vision. She spent her final months here, embracing the work, facing herself. For some, the Prieur was a place of revelation. For others, it was too much to bear. By the late 1920s, the Prieur began to fade, but its impact did not. Those who passed through its gates carried...
The late 1920s, wasn't it established in 1922? Seems like a tight turnaround for a place like this. Maybe I don't know.
its lessons with them, some shaken, some transformed. The Prieur was not meant to last forever. It was an experiment, a glimpse into the possibility of awakening.
Well, okay. Well, that answers that. New chapter. Chapter 4, Near Death.
A quiet road between Paris and Fontainebleau. Behind the wheel was George Gurdjieff. His mind, as always, was working, turning over ideas, planning the next phase of his mission. Then, in an instant, fate intervened.
Oh my god.
The crash should have killed him. His injuries were severe: internal damage, head trauma, a body broken beyond repair. But against all odds, Gurdjieff survived. And as he lay in the depths of suffering, something shifted. For years, Gurdjieff had led others on the path of transformation. Now he was the one being tested. Would he surrender to fate, or would he use this moment, as he had every other, as an opportunity to awaken? The crash changed everything. Weakened, unable to teach as before, Gurdjieff made a shocking decision. He dissolved the institute, sending away many of his students. Some saw it as the end, but in truth, it was a transformation. With his body failing him, he turned to a new task, one that would consume him for years to come. If he could no longer teach through words and movement, he would teach through writing. Gurdjieff's new mission: to capture everything he had learned, every fragment of knowledge, into a written form. And so, from his hospital bed and later in noisy cafes, he began to dictate what would become his greatest literary work, Beelzebub's Tales. The book was no ordinary teaching.
I feel like I've heard of that. Let's really quick see if I can even Beelzebub's Tales. I feel like I've heard of that. There we go. Okay.
It was dense, layered, and deliberately difficult to read. Gurdjieff did not believe in giving easy answers. To find truth, one had to struggle, just as he had. He called it a book written in such a way that it would force the reader to think, to question, to awaken.
I feel like that kind of makes sense. There is a reward into doing some research and figuring shit out, right? There's something to that. More difficult equals more dopamine, kind of a theme of this week. But it's a little odd that this guy went on like a worldwide tour with other searchers to find these answers. And his response to all of it was, well, let's write down all this shit so it could be cemented in history long past I live. But I too am going to make this very difficult for anyone else who picks up this book and wants to learn my teachings. It's not as difficult as traveling to 4 or 5, 10 different places to learn this stuff and put it together in whichever way he thought was the best. But I mean, why? I mean, there's a lot of books I've read that I'm kind of like, I get it, but David R. Hawkins kind of a little bit speaks in circles, and it's a little weird and frustrating to me that he does that. It's like, give me the fucking answer. What are we doing here? You know?
The work was not over. It had only changed form. The crash had not ended his mission. It had redirected it. He would no longer shape students through physical struggle, but through thought, through words, through the power of an idea that would live beyond him.
Oh, is that the whole thing? Okay. That's cool. That's sick. What does the Google of this book bring us to? Beelzebub's tales to his grandson. Beelzebub's I won't do that. To his grandson, or an objectively impartial criticism of the life of man, is the first volume of All and Everything trilogy written by Greek Armenian mystic G.I. Gurdjieff. I just watched the whole video, and I'll say his name. The All and Everything trilogy also includes meetings with remarkable men, and life is real only then when I am. Interesting. First privately printed in 1974. But didn't you die? I guess that doesn't mean that's when he wrote it. But it was printed then? Wait. Why? What's going on here? Did I mess up? No. Okay, it just jumps to his page. And oddly jumps to this section, which I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Do I need to buy these books and just read this craziness? How many pages are these? Hold on. Let's hop into Amazon here and see what's what. Is this the whole thing? Hold on. Beelzebub's Tales to his grandson, All and Everything. Oh, that's the first series. See, I own this book. I wonder if this is where it came from. I did buy this, The Secret Teachings of All the Ages, an encyclopedia and outline. So I wonder if that's where I had it, or that's where I read it. And I think I read this entire book. It was a lot. 736 dense fucking pages, bro. Very, very dense pages. You know? Oh, and then there's a book, The Fourth Way Explained, A Modern Journey of Self-Transformation. How many pages is that? 354. I could handle that. That's not by him though, right? No, that's by someone else. Yeah. Life is only real then when I am. How much? Where's that book? Oh, this is $1. The Kindle edition. Which I don't have a Kindle. Figure it out, but I really like a physical book. Okay, well, there's that. That was a good exploration. I thought that there would have been... maybe we should look that up, actually. Let's look that up. The Fourth Way Explained. Okay, I don't know if it's copyrighted music. I'm gonna talk over this. Thought I already missed it.
In the 1927 manuscript, Introduction to Fragments of an Unknown Teaching, P.D. Ouspensky, a key teacher of the Fourth Way, wrote, "The predominant emotion in me was fear. Fear to lose myself, fear to disappear in something unknown. I remember a phrase in a letter I wrote at the time. I am writing this letter to you, but who will write the next letter, signing it with my name, and what he will say, I do not know. This
That
was
sounds
the
like
fear.
schizophrenia, I think.
Uspensky, a Russian philosopher, was referring to the transformative impact of what is called the system, the work, or the fourth way.
Called it.
This teaching is a method of intense personal effort performed on oneself for the purpose of knowing oneself objectively and evolving into a higher state of consciousness that awakens us to a whole new experience of reality. George Ivanovich Gurdjieff brought these powerful ideas to the West from ancient and secret sources in the East. This extraordinary system of thought ranges from the most intimate psychological insights to a grandiose cosmology linking the individual with the universe. It is a synthesis of practices and teachings formatted for the Western scientific mind. It is named the Fourth Way to differentiate it from the other ways of conscious evolution, the way of the monk, the way of the fakir, the way of the yogi. Each of these classic methods of human transformation focus on different aspects of the individual: emotional, physical, intellectual. The Fourth Way deals with all of these dimensions at once, seeking to create a balanced individual whose inner work of transformation occurs in the midst of his or her daily activities. It is not necessary to live in monasteries or ashrams in order to apply this spiritual concentration. Yet the efforts made are as intense and demanding as any of the practices that take place in those settings. The work is entirely inner, invisible, and individual. The evolution of human consciousness is a matter of personal efforts and is therefore a rare exception among the majority of human beings. To those who would wonder at the seeming unfairness of this assertion, Uspensky responds that most people simply do not want to awaken.
It's true.
To become a
wanna be
different
asleep.
being, we must want it greatly and over many years. Without the necessary efforts, we will not evolve. Moreover, we must acquire qualities that we believe we already possess, but in fact do not. In the Fourth Way, this insight is the first step in the direction of inner evolution. We do not know ourselves. Gurdjieff says, man has invented many machines, and he knows that a complicated machine needs sometimes years of careful study before one can use it or control it. But he does not apply this knowledge to himself, although he himself is a much more complicated machine than any machine he has invented. This machine is brought into motion by external influences. All actions, ideas, and emotions are responses to the stimulus of external events. For Gurdjieff, such mechanical persons are asleep to their true condition and virtually incapable of change. He tells us, by himself he is just an automaton with a certain store of memories of previous experiences and a certain amount of reserve energy. Human beings, therefore, cannot do. Everything happens to us as to puppets pulled by invisible strings. Uspensky believed that if we could perceive this phenomenon, then things would begin to change for us. We human beings are not merely stimulus-response machines, but machines that can know that we are machines. Realizing this, we may find ways to cease being simply reactive organisms. Another central idea in the Fourth Way is that the individual is not one. We have no permanent I or ego. Every thought, feeling, sensation, desire is an I, which believes that it is the whole person. Yet none of these I's are connected, and each depends on the change of external circumstances. To make matters worse, there are often impenetrable defenses between each I, which the work calls buffers, separating these sub-personalities from one another. Gurdjieff stated that one of our most important mistakes is our illusion about our unity. He tells us, his I changes as quickly as his thoughts, feelings, and moods, and he makes the profound mistake in considering himself always one and the same person.
What? Okay.
In reality, he is always a different person, not the one he was a moment ago. Our every thought and desire lives separately and independently from the whole. According to Gurdjieff, we are made of thousands of separate I's, often unknown to one another, and sometimes mutually exclusive and hostile to each other. Man is a plurality. Man's name is Legion, he writes. The alternation of I's is controlled by accidental external influences. There is nothing in us able to control the change of I's, mainly because we do not notice it. Each separate I calls itself I and acts in the name of the whole person. This explains why people so often make decisions and so seldom carry them out. A little self-observation will prove that we usually think, feel, move, and respond without our being aware of what is happening within us. This self-observation is in fact the first practical effort required in the fourth way. The student is to create an observing I, which observes with objectivity his or her inner activity. To develop an objective space within, which can see without judging, is extremely difficult, but is also the first breakthrough out of our mechanical behavior and the state of sleep in which it keeps us.
I am almost completely distracted by all the video here. I'm just looking at, well, I don't know. I think the concept too is a little tough. It's not, it just doesn't seem right. But it does. I don't know. They're all separate, but I think the part, is there a higher self that is connected to all of it? But they're all unconnected. But they're all connected and they're all buffers and I don't know.
Consciousness is a particular kind of awareness concerning who we are, where we are in the moment, and what we know in the deepest dimension of our being. It never remains the same, but can be made continuous and controllable through special efforts and study. The fourth way points to four states of consciousness: sleep, waking state, self-consciousness, and objective consciousness. Most everyone lives only in the first two states. The third state, self-consciousness, is one that we believe we possess even though we are conscious of ourselves only in rare flashes. Such flashes come in exceptional moments, in highly emotional states, in times of danger, or in new and unexpected circumstances. We have no control over their coming and going. Gurdjieff writes, if we knew the quantity of wrong observations, wrong theories, wrong deductions, and conclusions made in this state, our ordinary consciousness, we should cease to believe ourselves altogether.
What the fuck is this style of hat that a lot of these women are wearing? It looks horrible, and I hope it never comes back.
Dr. Catherine Spieth, in her book The Gurdjieff Work, observes that anyone who has a difficult time accepting the notion that as we are, we have but few moments of true self-consciousness ought to make a study of the loose jaws and vacant stares of people in public places and in situations where they do not think that they are being observed. According to the fourth way, the central obstacle to higher levels of consciousness is a phenomenon known as identification. Ouspensky described it in this manner. In this state, man has no separate awareness. He is lost in whatever he happens to be doing, feeling, thinking. Because he is lost, immersed, not present to himself, this condition is known as a state of waking sleep. When we are identified, our attention is directed outward, and we are lost to ourselves. Self-consciousness is then a state in which we become aware of ourselves and are no longer hypnotized by the external event before us. In order to see clearly the roots of our psychological distortions, the fourth way defines two aspects of the individual: essence and personality. Essence is what a person is born with. Personality is that which is acquired.
Real quick, is self-consciousness like witnessing yourself? Is it like witnessing, like if you'd have thought like, I hate this, and then you think like, who is the I that hates this? Is that self-consciousness? Is that like what we're going for here?
All that is learned, both unconsciously through imitation and through acquired likes and dislikes, constitutes the outer part of the person, that which is changed by outer circumstances. Though personality is necessary, it must not be left to dominate essence, or it will produce artificial persons cut off from their true natures. According to Rodney Collin, one of Ouspensky's primary students who started his own fourth way school in South America, the fundamental abnormality in human beings lies precisely in the divergence between personality and essence. The more nearly we know ourselves for what we are, the more we approach wisdom. The more our imagination about ourselves diverges from what we actually are, the more insane we become. Through the practices of self-remembering, we can separate ourselves from the pretenses and imitations that have enslaved us since childhood and return to who we actually are. Such a return to our essential nature is accompanied by a sense of liberation unlike any other. To thyself be true is the first commandment on the way of self-development. Maurice Nicoll states in his psychological commentaries on the teachings of Gurdjieff and Ouspensky that as you make progress in the work, what you took as yourself begins to look like a little prison house far away in the valley beneath you. This is a vivid expression of the third state of consciousness, or self-remembering, as it is called. These flashes of greater consciousness are the unexpected results of the strenuous efforts made in order to not lose ourselves in the rush of outer circumstances, to be cleansed from the acids of negativity, and to maintain a heightened awareness grounded in the present. The student is to reach a point where he or she can make the choice not to react automatically to external stimuli. This requires going against the grain, resisting long-established habits and self-indulgences. The question is as basic as, can you find the willpower to choose not to react angrily to something that makes you angry.
This feels like stoicism.
Rather than being wasted in such an outburst, the energy accumulated through this effort can be available for a moment of intensified consciousness. This moment will flood you with peace and quiet joy, or a sense of profound liberation. Oddly enough, these rare and precious moments often come in very paradoxical events. When night is darkest, a shaft of light can suddenly break through. Self-remembering, combined with the insights of objective self-observation, assists in the creation of a balanced individual who is not completely under the sway of his or her inborn nature and acquired habits. It is not possible to experience a vaster sense of reality if we are entirely under the dominance of the intellect to the exclusion of the emotional or the instinctive part of our nature, and vice versa. In attempting to make the machine work right, it is necessary to change attitudes and behavior developed over years of wrong functioning. Maurice Nicole gives us a hint of these first stages of real change in his psychological commentaries. He writes, "This gradual withdrawal of energy from the customary, easily resentful and brittle feeling of I is accompanied by a gradual new and broader feeling of I, as if one were living in a larger place. It is like being introduced to a new civilization, to another form of life."
A new
He
civilization.
points out that by using the inner camera of self-observation, we begin to open a mind above the level of the sensual mind. Here is where the psychological experiences of the fourth way begin to reveal their numinous and religious or spiritual character. Self-remembering, then, is a process of being lifted out of our ordinary sense of self into a purified, detached space well known to those long practiced in meditation. But in the fourth way, this birth of new awareness can be accomplished while one crosses a city street or takes out the trash. Nevertheless, despite the practical approach of the work, self-remembering remains as intangible and paradoxical as any spiritual exercise. Reminiscent of the Zen koan, Rodney Collin told his students that we cannot remember ourselves until we forget ourselves. And at the height of his powers of understanding, he united the fourth way with the wisdom of all times and places. He wrote, "To feel beauty, to feel truth, that is self-remembering. Self-remembering is the awareness of the presence of God." The idea that we are not awake but live in a partial dream state from which we can awaken opens radically new horizons. The illusions we foster concerning ourselves melt under the light of increased consciousness, and we awaken to new dimensions of reality that set us free. We are then able to relate to the world around us without the usual defenses, masks, and confusion that constitute much of human interaction. We become capable of a new kind of compassion.
Well, that was an exploration for sure. We learned about Gurdjieff. Boy, was that a rabbit hole I didn't expect to go down, kind of. I thought it would be a little bit different. I'm a little confused on the connection to, like, Hitler and Stalin. That is Was there a connection? I don't know. That was an interesting one. Um, It's for the thumbnail. Yeah, I don't know. That was good. I feel like it's like some of the shit I kind of practice now. Just yeah. It was so I think like yeah. Just be conscious all the time is basically the thing, right? Right? Like that's what we're learning. Just be conscious all the time of yourself and like be aware of your thoughts and emotions to external events. That's basically what I got out of that. It was good. I liked the biography video a little bit more, but I think the explanation of the fourth way was good. It makes me not want to buy the book, so saved money and time. Win-win.